Hello wise women, welcome to my channel. I am Wanga and this is Woman Wellness, a place for every woman who wants to take back control of her life, understand her body and heal herself naturally. If this is your first time joining, then welcome. And if not, welcome back. Firstly, I want to say thank you very much for your patience. I started YouTube over a year ago and I took a break after a few weeks and I said I'll be back, and it's nearly been a year. I know. YouTube was taking up a lot of my time when it comes to editing, and as you know, this is not the main thing that I do. I've got consultations and coaching, and I didn't want this to take away from that. So I had to come up with a plan B. So hopefully now we are back, hopefully more consistent, and for the longer term. So thank you for your patience, and without further ado, let's get into it. Today I'm talking about cycle syncing. What is cycle syncing? Cycle syncing is the art of aligning your lifestyle, your diet, your exercise, just your whole life around your menstrual cycle. Now this seems like doing too much, but this is actually how as women we can come into alignment with ourselves and thrive, because we operate on two different clocks. We operate on a circadian rhythm and an infradian rhythm, and I've done a blog post about that, of what is cycle syncing. I've gone in depth about, it's short but I have gone in depth about what cycle syncing is and why it's important, because our infradian rhythm, which is our monthly clock, is influenced by our daily clock and vice versa. So if we're having a whole lot of issues with our menstrual cycle and then can't function day to day, fatigue, constant pain, all that stuff, it's very important to align yourselves in those two. So why do you need to cycle sync? The reason you need to cycle sync is because you have different needs at different times of your whole menstrual cycle. So your needs at menstruation are going to be different to your needs at ovulation, and follicular phase versus luteal phase. You have different physical needs and nutritional needs at this point. So in this video, I'm going to be specifically speaking on or sharing with you how to cycle sync your diet. So how to eat for each phase of your menstrual cycle. Phase 1, menstruation. What is menstruation? I think we all know that. I should hope we all know that. But when does menstruation happen? So menstruation is from the first day that you see blood until the end of your period. So in this phase, you are losing blood. You are losing iron, you're losing folate, and you're losing other essential nutrients that you need for your body. You are in withdrawal phase. Your body is literally hitting the reset button, and it's okay to just rest. In fact, if I can term this phase, it'll be rest and replenish. So what do you need? You need iron-rich foods. You need blood-building foods. This looks like spinach, kale, morojo. That's an excellent blood-building food. For those of you who don't know what morojo is, that is basically like veggies from the amaranth family. So it's very common. It's my favorite vegetable. Even as a child, it was my favorite vegetable. And then you also need vitamin C foods. So strawberries, citrus fruits, again, dark leafy green vegetables like spinach. These are really good when it comes to helping you absorb iron. Remember that every time you need iron, you're going to need vitamin C, because it helps the absorption of iron. So once you start eating vitamin C, you are optimizing your absorption of iron and helping your body bounce back very quickly. You also need anti-inflammatory foods. At this time, estrogen is low, progesterone is low, all your hormones are kind of at their lowest phase. And at the same time, there is these hormone-like substances called prostaglandins, and prostaglandins are on the rise. Prostaglandins are what cause the cramping, what cause the period pains, that cramping that we get, sometimes even the the diarrhea, the period diarrhea that we get during that time, that's because of the prostaglandins. So we need to start putting out that fire that the prostaglandins are causing by eating anti-inflammatory foods. So nuts, seeds, avocados, those are foods that your body's going to thank you for because you're helping to soothe the inflammation and put out the fire. Everything that I'm going to talk about, as always, is in the description box. I've actually gone the extra mile because it's me and because it's you and because I love you. I have made a whole food list that is downloadable for you to eat in every phase of your menstrual cycle. So I've made a food list for you that you can follow on how to eat for every phase of your menstrual cycle, and that will be in the description box below. Phase 2. Phase 2 is your follicular phase. And by the way, if you have no idea what I mean when I say follicular phase or phase 2, I've done a whole video on it. I will link it in the description box and somewhere in this space here of how to track your menstrual cycle and how to understand what phase is which. And so that will be in the description box as well. So phase 2 is your follicular phase. This is generally considered the time from right after your period until just before ovulation. So this is the phase, right? Estrogen is the dominant hormone in this phase. It is the hormone that makes things grow, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. If you have estrogen dominant conditions like PMS symptoms, hormonal acne, if you have fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis, if you have heavy bleeding, clotting, that all points to your estrogen. So this is the phase where you need to start fixing that. If you start to regulate your estrogen production, metabolism, and detoxification in this phase, your period is going to be very happy and peaceful. So this is the phase. Also, if you want to light up your metabolism, if you want to burn fat, if you want to build muscle, if you want to tone up, this is the phase to do it. Phase 2, follicular phase. And what do you need in this time? You need protein. Plant-based proteins are better than animal-based proteins because your body is able to absorb and use the plant-based proteins quicker and easier and with less inflammatory processes than animal-based proteins. And then what else do you need? You need cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables, the cabbage, the broccoli, the kale, maca, all those foods, Brussels sprouts, all those foods are helpful for detoxing you of estrogen. It will help break it down and detox you of it because it's not just about making it, it's about utilizing, it's about breaking it down, and then it's about excreting the estrogen. So cruciferous vegetables are going to help you do all of that. And then the other thing that you need are fermented foods like apple cider vinegar or fermented foods or drink. Like apple cider vinegar, sauerkraut. I've actually done a little demo on Instagram for sauerkraut. If you'd like me to share it here, let me know. It's very simple. It's just cabbage and salt. Literally, that's all it is. You can add anything else you want, but it's just cabbage and salt. It's like massaging cabbage really with salt, and that's all you need to do. But I can do that demo for you if you want. Tell me in the comments down below. And then other foods like ting or majeo, those are fermented foods that right now your gut will be thankful of, because if you remember, I've also done a video on this, that your gut is needed. Your gut health is essential for when it comes to breaking down of estrogen. So if you have gut issues, you need to look after your gut when it comes to balancing your hormones as well. So fermented foods are one of the ways that you help heal your gut. Citrus fruit as well, limes and lemons are going to help you hydrate on a cellular level. So you can include that just first thing in the morning, apple cider vinegar, or just some lemon water, warm lemon water, and that's going to help you in this phase. For everything that I've mentioned, I have made a food list for you, but this one is not a free downloadable. This one is at a small fee, and it's only 150 Rand. And the reason I've done that is because I want you to bet on yourself. I want women who can trust in themselves, who can bet on themselves, and who can learn from me and then be able to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I know that everything that I'm teaching you here, you can go and implement and you will come back with results. If you do all of this and nothing, and you get nothing, if you get nothing, then book a consultation with me. But I'm telling you that everything that I've taught you in the podcast, everywhere on my platforms, I've had women come back and say, hey, thank you so much for the information you've shared because it has helped me. I've had a happy period. I've conceived. I've shrunk my fibroids. So I'm telling you, I'm betting on this because I know it works. So I want you to bet on yourself, make that little investment. It's only 150 Rand. I mean, the knowledge I'm sharing is worth much more and you know it. But I've made it 150 Rand because I want to test how much you can bet on yourself. And if you really believe in yourself and that you can heal yourself. Phase 3, ovulation. If I can term this one, this is high and mighty. Why? Estrogen has peaked, testosterone has peaked, and your progesterone is about to take over and for the second half of your menstrual cycle. Estrogen and testosterone peaking, this is where ovulation is taking place. You're releasing the egg, or if you release the egg, that takes place in just 24 hours. And you are feeling fantastic. If there is a time in your entire menstrual cycle you should be feeling fantastic, it's now. You should be feeling on top of the world. You should be feeling like you can do anything. You can conquer the world. So whether you're trying to conceive or not, you need to be ovulating. A tree that does not bear fruit is not doing okay. And we don't want it chopped off, right? So bearing fruit, essentially releasing the egg, is what your entire menstrual cycle is built off of. Your entire menstrual is about this moment, the releasing of the egg. If you've been on hormonal birth control, it shut this phase down. It literally shut down the communication of your ovaries and your brain. So you need to revamp and wake up this phase and make sure that your hormones, your ovaries and your brain are communicating well. This is also the phase that's going to usher in your luteal phase. Your luteal phase, that's where everything is, all the drama starts to kind of happen. The water retention, the period pains, the PMS, the mood swings, the migraines, all that starts to happen there. So we need to make sure that in this phase, you're looking after yourself and that you're helping your body get ready as we go into that phase. So what do we do in this phase? You need vitamin E. So I'm not just talking about supplements. Remember when I talk about vitamin C, vitamin E, I want you first to go to food sources. Food, eating well is the foundation of hormone balance. What you put in is what you get out. If you're not eating well, if you're eating crap, you're not going to have the best of menstrual cycles. So you need to eat well. Vitamin E is one of those foods. So avocados, nuts and seeds, again, your sunflower seeds, sesame seed, that's what you need in this phase. It's also going to start helping you build up your progesterone well to usher you into your luteal phase. You also will need vitamin B and zinc and vitamin C foods. Foods that are rich in those foods are going to help firstly with your egg health, with actually releasing the egg, because there's some women who start ovulating and then the egg gets trapped. There's actually a word for it, but it gets trapped and the egg doesn't get fully released, and then that's also another problem. So zinc, vitamin C, all those are going to help with your entire ovulation process. You want to cut down on high carbs because your body's now not going to be able to break down those carbs as well as it was doing earlier in your follicular phase. You want to cut down on refined sugar. You want to start actually taking out sugar because I'll tell you in a moment when we get to your luteal phase what's really happening there with the sugar. You want to start increasing fiber in your diet. You want to really ramp up on that water. And then you want to cut down on salty foods. You may start to crave them, but you need to exercise a bit of willpower and cut down on the salty foods and the fatty foods like the fried stuff and the refined stuff. So you're eating all these foods in this time, and that's going to firstly improve your ovulation process, and then usher you into your luteal phase. And then fourth and final phase, your luteal phase. This is a phase, like I said, all the drama starts to happen here. If we have not taken care of ourselves in the past 3 phases, and if we're still having some issues with our hormone balance, this is where it really shows up, especially. Unless you have PCOS, which it will really show up in your follicular phase. But for most women who have estrogen dominant conditions with low progesterone, this is the phase where everything kind of starts to go a little haywire for you. For us, me too, historically. So between ovulation and your next period is called the luteal phase. And this can be as little as 10 days, or it can be very long. In this phase, you need to look after your progesterone levels. It is the dominant hormone in this phase, but if you have low progesterone, especially if we already have the history of the high estrogen, then this phase needs extra attention, because this is how we need to fight off all the PMS symptoms. So if I can term this phase, I would say fortify. And yes, it is a play on words, because we do have Fortify Womb Cleansing Tea as one of our women's wellness products, but I couldn't think of a better word than to say fortify. Why am I saying fortify? You need to fortify your body and fight against all the pending PMS symptoms and period problems that might come in the next few days. So how do we do that? Firstly, again, fiber. Remember, I've talked about that this is the phase where there is binge eating, or there's likely to be binge eating, emotional eating, serious cravings, water retention, so the swelling of the hands and the feet, where there is the migraines, the mood swings, the irritability, the poor sleep, the constipation. So we need to fight off those symptoms by being proactive. So fiber, one, is going to help keep you fuller for longer, so you're not having those hungry, angry moments, those hangry and crashing because the sugar is low. It's also going to help detox you of excess estrogen, which should not be generally in high quantities as you would have if you have low progesterone. It's also going to help with keeping your gut motility regular. So constipation is an issue. Fiber is one of the ways that we fight that constipation in this phase. If you're constipated, your hormone imbalance is going to get worse. So you need to be going every day. If you're eating 2 to 3 meals, you need to be going at least twice a day. No pressure, but that's what it is. We also need to be regulating your insulin. Insulin is the hormone that helps regulate your sugar levels. So to curb the binge eating, the cravings, the headaches, the sugar crashes, all of that, we need to be curbing that. We need to be regulating insulin. How do we do that? First thing in the morning, your first meal of the day should be a protein, fat, and fiber breakfast. So within the hour of waking up, it's best to eat something that is rich in protein, rich in fat, and rich in fiber. That is what you want to be eating. And when I say fat, I mean healthy fats. There's blog posts that I've done on that. I can link that for you down below as well. And this will help also with weight management. You're not doing well on carbs in this phase, so you really want to lower your intake of carbs and anything, the mini meals, the baked stuff, all of that. It's best to take care of it, because to take it away, because all the work that you've done to build the muscle and burn the fat in the first half, if you then come and start eating all that processed food, all the carbs, all the high refined foods, all the starchy foods, you're undoing it. And that's because your body, your metabolism in this phase has shifted a little bit, and you're not able to break down carbs as well as you could in this way in the first in your follicular phase. So if you want to do banting, if you want to do a ketogenic diet, this is the phase where your body will respond excellently to a ketogenic diet. So high fat, low carb diet. And fats, remember I said healthy fats. Resistant starches. Resistant starches are basically cold, like your cold rice or cold potatoes. Obviously, we said we're going to reduce them, but when you have them, it's best to have them cold. So think rice salad, potato salad. They're going to help curb the cravings, but then they're also going to be feeding you good bacteria, which will help break down estrogen, regulate your hormones, and keep your gut motility going. You also want low GI foods. We know low GI bread, that's like the health bread. It helps with slow release. It keeps you fuller for longer. And that's what you want. You want foods that are slow release, like oats. Oats, you eat them, you get full, and they keep you going for much longer than a day, other than white bread or white refined foods. So those are the foods that you want to gravitate towards too. Magnesium is important in this phase. You need to start eating lots of foods that have a lot of magnesium, like pumpkin seeds as well, because they're going to help start relaxing your muscles, take care of your muscles to prevent all the period pains that may come, all the irritability, the lack of sleep. Magnesium and selenium are those two minerals that will help with that. And all the foods, everything that you need to eat, I've put it in a nice little chart for you, which you just need to follow the link down below, and it will take you to the page where you can pay for it and download it. It's only 150 Rand. So that's it. When it comes to eating for your menstrual cycle. So the 4 phases, cycle syncing your diet, right? But finally, I want to talk about seed cycling, and I've done a blog post on seed cycling as well. And that is using particular seeds to help with your hormone balance, your womb health, but your menstrual cycle and your entire body, and with the skin. Okay, so seed cycling in particular uses pumpkin seed, flax seed, sunflower seed, and sesame seeds. And what you do is in the first half of your cycle, so from period to ovulation, you're using pumpkin seed and flax seed, and you're eating that every single day, about a tablespoon of each every single day in the first half of your cycle. And then you switch over in the second half of your cycle to eat sesame seeds and sunflower seeds. Healthy fats from seeds and nuts and whole grains help to make healthy hormones. So this is why it's very important for women who are having menstrual cycle issues to include lots of seeds into their diet. So I've done a blog post on that, how to do seed cycling and how to, use it. But also a plug for you. I buy my seeds from Indian spice shops. I buy all my grains and seeds from Indian spice shops. All right then, so that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, because I'm going to keep them coming. But if you do nothing else, if you don't like it, if you don't subscribe, at least share the video. We're always talking about how, why is no one talking about this? Why are women are suffering in silence? We're not talking about this. Well, I'm talking about it. I'm starting the conversation. We're having this conversation, you and I, right now. So I want you to take this conversation and share it with the next sister. And this is how we can build the sisterhood. This is how the sisterhood can heal. So share the video, but do like and subscribe as well. And I'll see you next time. Take care and be well.